Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. I'm Shamira Benson, one part of Team Benson, and today it is going to be a Medicinal Friday, which is going to be a little bit different because we have a sick family. So we are going to go over what I'm doing to treat my husband who has a little bit of a cold. Okay guys, so I'm gonna go over the process of what I'm doing to get him better and what I expect when I'm doing it, so that then you guys can have a better idea of, one, how do I cook with herbs, because I get a lot of people that ask me like, hey, my family doesn't like tea, so how do I get the herbs in them without it tasting like tea. So I will show you guys how I'm gonna make chicken noodle soup. And then also I'm gonna show you what I did to kind of get all of the phlegm up. So here's a little backstory. I had two interns that were sick, and one was better, but I think that they were sick before they realized that they were sick and they were still coming to work. So Mr. Benson, who has a little bit lower of immune system than I do, is now sick with the same kind of cough, respiration thing that they got going on. So what we're gonna do first is we are going to get the phlegm out of his lungs. Okay, so I'm also trying to get this video done because it is Shabbat. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna edit it and I'm gonna put it up. It's probably not gonna be done uploading before the sun goes down, which is when I can't touch a computer anymore. So then I am just going to set a timer for, I don't know, hopefully 7 o'clock, and hopefully it goes up and everything's fine. If not, I will upload it on Sunday and you guys will see it Sunday morning. So either way it goes, we're fine. We're all fine. So first things first is we need to get the phlegm out of his lungs, meaning that he needs to cough all of that up and it needs to come out. Which, what we did is, I like this immunity boost tea. I have all of these ingredients. This tea is actually from Sri Lanka, and it has coriander, ginger, cinnamon, and cloves in it. And basically those are just things that are going to help fight infections. The coriander, the cinnamon, and the cloves are going to be anti-inflammatory, so they're going to help relax those lungs. And then the ginger is going to fight a lot of bacteria and some of the viruses, so we're kind of hitting it both ways. Now, I'm also, since Mr. Benson is a smoker, and if anytime I can get more phlegm out of his lungs, I will, I'm going to add my favorite herb, mullein, and then I'm going to add some echinacea, just because usually by the time Mr. Benson tells me he's not feeling good, it's already kind of turning into maybe a little bit of an infection, because he's one of those people that will just work through it. And then to give it a little bit of flavor, I added some honey. Now, when I did this, I did one of these tea bags to a teaspoon of this and a teaspoon of this. I cannot get Mr. Benson to drink an entire glass of tea. He's not that great at it, so we just did a double shot glass, and I made it very concentrated. Now what happened is that you want to let the person just sit after drinking it, and you want to give this to them warm, so not like a cold tea but a warm tea. And then you let the person sit. In about 10 minutes you'll either hear their voice change or their cough will start to change. You'll hear their cough really loosen up, and you'll hear that phlegm come up. And usually they'll jump right up to go either cough it out, and if it's a lot, might even vomit a little bit to get the phlegm all out. When Mr. Benson did it, it was a huge phlegm ball of grossness. Not to be over dramatic, but huge phlegm ball of grossness, which then let me know that I got a lot of it out. Then his color started to come back because he was very pale. So his color started to come back. His voice changed, so it went back to normal. And also you'll see the person's shoulders relax because they're not trying to gasp for air. So they're not like this, they're more like this once they get that phlegm ball out. So that's what you should expect, to get even more of it out while he was coughing and had his head down. Usually what I do is I put the person, sit them down, or if just have them kneel over, but you want gravity to kind of help get that phlegm out of there. And then you're going to cup their back. And so all you're doing is you're going to put your hand like this, kind of like if you were cupping like a cup, and you're going to hit where their lungs are on their back in order to break up that phlegm and get the majority of that phlegm out. Same thing like if you're burping a baby, kind of like as hard as you would burp a baby, that would be the same thing that you would do to the person that you're trying to help them get the phlegm out. Okay, so once that big ball of greatness comes out and you see those signs that they can breathe better, and then it is time to cook the critter, is what we like to call it in our house. So essentially, I just give him water, tons and tons of water, takes a hot shower. So he took a hot shower. He's been drinking tons of water, and he goes to bed for a couple of hours. Just go to bed. You'll see the temperature go up, body temperature will go up. You don't want it to go past like 101 degrees, but you will see the body temperature go up. It should say somewhere in here too that I'm not your doctor. I'm just a girl on YouTube trying to make sure everybody knows how I treat my family and share the information with you. If you have any type of medical issues, make sure you consult your doctor. All right, now that we've got that clause out of there. So what you're gonna wanna do is kind of just, what we like to call, like I said, cook the critter. And you don't want the person's temperature to go over like 100, maybe 100.3, anything like that. Anything 101 you wanna be concerned about, because then it's cooking too fast and you don't wanna cook the brain. So especially if it's like 103, something like that, give the person something that can reduce the fever. What we like to use, let me grab it. So what we like to use to reduce fevers in our house, which you'll see our jars are pretty full because we rarely get a fever that high, but feverfew or catnip, or you can do both, and a cool, like lukewarm bath in Epsom salt will bring a fever down. If it's something that you can't get down, then yes, go to the hospital. Or if you don't have any of these things, then Tylenol works too, but remember, Tylenol, your liver does not like Tylenol. So just keep that in mind. So those are what we're gonna do. Well, we've already done, and he's in the process of cooking the critter. So he is laying down while I'm making soup. Now I'm also trying to do a bunch of different things. So the rest of this video is going to be kind of just me showing you guys the soup that I'm making. We're gonna make a garlic, oregano, marinara type sauce to go with our challah bread, since it is Shabbat, which Shabbat shalom to everybody that celebrates. And yeah, we're gonna just do that and get them all better. Okay, so we've already started with sauteing some onions and garlic. Now this is like maybe a 3/4 of an onion, and then also like a lot of garlic, like 5 cloves of garlic. We are going to chop up some carrots. I have like a carrot and a half, and we're gonna add those once this starts to caramelize. And then I have some tomatoes that are defrosting right now so I can get the skin off. One tomato is going for the chicken soup. The other tomato we're going to use for a spread. We have the carrots, onions, and garlic in here, sauteing in some olive oil. And we're going to add the chicken next. So we're just going to use 2 chicken breasts, and we're going to cut those up like into cubes. Okay, we just added the chicken, so now it's time for some seasoning. I'm going to use some Celtic sea salt. I'm choosing Celtic sea salt over other salts just because this one has more minerals in it. I keep my Celtic sea salt in a big tub like this, so I'm not going to open up this one. I also have some, this one is celery salt. I'm going to use a little bit of that because I don't want to put actual chunks of celery in it. And then I'm going to use some black pepper. All of this is to taste. I'm making this just a little bit more salty since I'm adding some Celtic sea salt, but you don't want it like overly powerfully salty. It doesn't need to be anything like that. So when your chicken looks like it's about halfway done, then you're going to slice up your tomato and add that. I only have one of the tomatoes in here. As you can see, it's still frozen. Trick to getting the skin off is to let it thaw out for like 5 minutes, just to where it's thawed enough to where you can cut it in half. And then you're going to run it underneath some water, and the skin will come right off, and then you just commence to chopping and throw that in there. So I'm gonna let this cook just for like another 2 minutes, and I'm gonna add some bone broth. So we are going to be using our allergy bone broth that we had made back in January. So I will tag that video down below. It's just a short, so it's really quick, so you can see what's all in it. Two of the powerhouse things that are in here are going to be the nettle and the echinacea. Nettle's good for allergies and hay fever, and echinacea is good for any type of like bacterial infection. It's a natural antibiotic. So we're going to pop the lid off of this, and we're going to add this, or we're going to add the broth here, and then we're going to go outside and grab some herbs. So first up on our herb list is going to be thyme. This is going to be for the soup. Then we're going to get some parsley for the soup, and then also some oregano for the spread. Okay, so for our thyme, we are just going to, after we washed it, we're just going to throw this right into the pot. Don't worry about it. The little leaves will come off, and then we'll just fish out these stems once everything's done. The parsley, we're going to wait until it is a little bit more like, or till the soup's almost done, because since this is fresh parsley, it doesn't need to hydrate, and we want this to have like a little bit of a texture to it. And the oregano, we are going to pull all the leaves off the stem, put the leaves in here with some more garlic, another like maybe like 3 or 4 cloves in there, and then we're going to chop up this tomato, throw that in there too, and then we'll add some, grab them over here, some red pepper flakes, and we're going to make like a spicy tomato paste, spicy tomato garlic oregano paste for our challah bread that is rising over here. Now, the nice part about this oregano is one of the biggest powerhouses when it comes to like antibiotics and different things like that. It's a very natural antibiotic, and it just really cures any type of bacterial situations going on, which is what happens in the lungs when you let phlegm stay in there. So we're going to use this, but once again, we want it to be more like something familiar, so we're just going to make like a simple like marinara with it. Okay, so I'm cramming this all into a ramekin, a word that's not said nearly enough. So basically I have the oregano down at the bottom. We did 3 cloves of garlic. We're gonna add this whole tomato, probably like minus these chunks. I'll just throw these in the soup because they're not really fitting. And then we're going to add some red pepper flakes, however hot you want it. That's how much you want to add to it. Just a little bit of salt. We don't need a lot of salt for this one, but we're going to use the Celtic sea salt again. And then we're going to top it off with some olive oil, and we're going to put that in the oven and let it bake until everything is super soft where we can blend it up. Okay, so now our soup is looking like this and smelling absolutely delicious, and we are gonna let it cook on a really, really low heat. Like pretty much like to there for like, let's say like 45 minutes. But before we do that, it's citrus season in Arizona, which means it's time to add some vitamin C to our lives. So I'm gonna put in half a lemon. I'm just going to juice it. Okay guys, lid on. We are going to let that simmer, and remember, we're saving our parsley. This is going to cook for another 45 minutes while we have the marinara in the oven, and we're going to roll out the challah and put that in there too. And then in the last 10 minutes, we're going to add our fresh parsley. We're just going to chop it up without the stems and put that in there, and then also our noodles. Okay, so it's been about 30 minutes. So we are going to pop this open and see what it looks like. It's looking great. We're going to add our parsley. I just chopped it down, so we're just going to add the parsley. And then we're going to add Mr. Benson's favorite noodles, which are these ones. So I'm going to go ahead and add that. Let that cook, and then by then the challah and the marinara sauce should be done. Okay guys, so just an update. The critter is cooked. His temperature is now coming back down, and he is awake and asking me a million questions about when dinner is going to be done. So appetite is back. And I did give him another shot glass full of the original tea that I gave him to bring up the phlegm out of his lungs. We got a little bit more out of there, but his lungs sound clear. I did check them, so they sound clear, so we're all good there. Now we just need to maintain all of the progress that we made. So we're going to give him the soup not only today, we're also going to give him the soup tomorrow. So I made enough for 2 servings for today and tomorrow for both of us. as the caregiver, you want to eat what you cook for them because the same herbs that are in there, you want to get those in your body because it's probably going to be more preventative for you, but you want to make sure that you're not catching whatever it is that they gave you now, or whatever it is they have. Now, if you guys know us, you know that most of the time we eat cold food on Shabbat, like actual Saturday. But instead of eating our normal like cold foods like a salad or like bagels and lox or anything like that, we're going to eat the soup just to make sure that whatever is going on in his lungs are going to maintain. And also, soup is better the next day. So once it gets a chance to simmer, it gets better the next day. So that's the plan. Okay guys, so we have our challah and we have our soup. And we also have our dipping sauce. So that is dinner. I am racing the sun. So I hope you guys all have a good Shabbat. Make sure you are staying happy and healthy.